There comes a moment in awakening when something strange happens. You become more peaceful than ever, yet more alone than ever. Not because you want isolation, but because the old way of loving suddenly feels impossible. You look around and notice that everyone is playing a game you used to participate in, a game called I need you to fix what I refuse to face inside myself. And when you awaken, you can't play that game anymore. Not out of superiority, but because your eyes simply won't close again. You see how most romance begins in the same place. Fear. Fear of being alone. Fear of not being enough. Fear of disappearing unless someone constantly confirms your existence. You used to feel that fear too. You chased love, hoping it would erase the emptiness. But awakening reveals the truth. The emptiness wasn't real. It was only the echo of a life lived outside yourself. And here's the irony. Once you no longer need someone to complete you, you suddenly can't fall for the ones who still need you to complete them. Their desire feels heavy, charged with expectation, like being handed a script in a play you no longer wish to perform. You sense immediately when someone wants a partner, not to share life with, but to escape their own. You used to do the same, and you understand their longing, but now you see through the illusion clearly. And seeing clearly means you can't pretend anymore. This creates a very peculiar loneliness. A loneliness not of emptiness, but of clarity. You walk through a world full of people still searching for their other half, as if two incomplete beings could magically become whole together. You want to connect, you want to love, but you no longer want the kind of love that is rooted in need, because need disguises itself beautifully. It calls itself passion. It calls itself devotion, but underneath it trembles with fear. Fear of loss, fear of being abandoned, fear of being unseen. And awakened eyes can recognize fear instantly, even when it's wrapped in romance. So you meet someone and you feel a spark, but then you sense their inner hunger, their hope that you will fill the spaces they refuse to face. Before awakening, that hunger would have pulled you in. Now it gently pushes you back. You are not rejecting them, you are simply refusing to step into a role that leads both of you back into unconsciousness. And this is where people misunderstand the awakened. They think you're picky, closed off, unavailable. But the truth is simple. You cannot pretend blindness once you've opened your eyes. You cannot return to a love based on fear once you have tasted a love based on freedom. So you wait, not passively. You live, you grow, you deepen, you become more yourself than you have ever been. You're willing to walk alone, not because you enjoy loneliness, but because you refuse to betray your own awakening. You're not looking for someone to complete you. You're looking for someone who has completed themselves. Someone who doesn't approach you with an empty cup, but with a cup already full. Someone who wants to share life, not escape it. Someone who chooses you from abundance, not desperation. Someone who has also removed the mask and is unafraid of being seen. Such people exist, but they are rare. That is the true price of awakening. The field of possible partners becomes smaller, not because you are better than others, but because you no longer resonate with unconscious patterns. You're waiting for someone who knows they are the ocean, not a wave begging for completion. And maybe you meet them, maybe you don't. But when you stand in truth, you realize something extraordinary. Being alone in freedom is infinitely better than being together in illusion. You'd rather walk alone with awareness than lose yourself in someone else's dreams. And here's the final twist. Once you stop demanding that love appear, that is when it finally can. Not as a rescue, not as a cure, but as a meeting between two whole beings who choose each other freely, without need, without fear, from the fullness that awakening has revealed. But there's something else the spiritually awake must confront. The world will try to convince you that your loneliness is a sign that something has gone wrong. It will whisper that your standards are too high, that your clarity is actually fear, that your solitude is a wound rather than a doorway. And if you're not careful, you may begin to believe it. You may start to doubt your own awakening simply because it doesn't look like the movies. But awakening has never looked like the movies. It has always been a breaking of the spell. And every broken spell begins with disillusionment. Because when you awaken, you stop seeking entertainment from people. You begin seeking truth. And truth is not flashy or dramatic. It is quiet, subtle, slow to reveal itself. Most people don't have the patience for it. They want fireworks, passion, the adrenaline rush of falling. But you want presence. You want someone whose silence feels like home, because they are at home in themselves. This is the rarest thing in the world. And so, you walk through life with a strange kind of vision. You see past people's charm and straight into their hunger. You see their need to be validated, their fear of emptiness, their desperation to avoid silence. And you cannot unsee it. This doesn't make you superior. It simply means you can no longer pretend. You can no longer accept substitutes. You can only accept what is real. Some nights, this clarity feels like a blessing. Other nights, it feels like a curse. You sit with a spaciousness inside you and wonder if anyone will ever be able to meet you there. But this wandering is part of the journey. It is the refining of your heart, not closing it, not hardening it, but preparing it for something deeper than the world's usual offerings. Because the spiritually awake don't just want love, they want connection at the level of being. They want someone who is not dazzled by appearance, not bargaining for emotional security, not chasing validation. They want someone who understands that love is not two people clinging to each other, but two people resting in themselves and meeting at the center, free, open, unafraid. And while the world calls this unrealistic, the truth is that it is simply uncommon. Human beings have always been more devoted to their stories than to reality. They cling to romantic narratives because narratives feel safe. But awakening strips those narratives away and leaves you with the raw, luminous presence of what is. From that place, only authenticity can satisfy. So, you learn patience. Not the patience of waiting for someone to arrive, but the patience of allowing your own being to deepen. Because every day you spend awake, you see more clearly what you actually want and what you can no longer pretend to want. You become honest with yourself in a way that makes dishonesty impossible in others. And here's the beauty: this honesty becomes magnetic. Not in the superficial sense that everyone suddenly wants you, but in the deeper sense that the right people recognize you instantly. They feel the peace in you, the groundedness, the lack of desperation. Awake people find each other quietly, without noise, without chasing, like candles recognizing the same flame. And when such a meeting happens, when two beings who are whole in themselves encounter one another, something extraordinary unfolds. Not fireworks, not obsession, not infatuation, but a kind of stillness, a kind of knowing, a love that doesn't rush, doesn't grasp, doesn't cling, a love that expands rather than contracts, a love rooted not in fear but in recognition. And if such a meeting never comes, then your life is still complete. Your days are still rich. Your heart is still full. Because you have discovered the secret most people never discover. That love was never something to be found out there. It was always the nature of your own being. Relationships may enhance it, but they cannot create it. They can only reflect what you have already realized within yourself.